Hello everyone. Welcome back to Stoic Wisdom today. I'm glad you're here. Let's begin with a question no one dares to ask out loud. What if being misunderstood is exactly what sets you free? What if peace doesn't come from clarity, but from no longer needing it? What if the loudest form of confidence is quiet? Today we're exploring something that touches all of us, deeply, quietly, and often painfully. The need to be understood. Now take a breath, let your shoulders drop. Let go of the tension that comes from constantly shaping yourself for others to get you. This is your moment to reset. Because here's the truth. We all long to be seen, to be known. It's one of the oldest human desires, woven into our need for safety, acceptance, even survival. But over time, that desire can harden into a demand. And when it does, we suffer. We over-explain. We defend ourselves in conversations we never agreed to have. We obsess over being misquoted, misread, misjudged. And slowly we abandon our own clarity, just to fit into someone else's misunderstanding. But Stoic wisdom offers a radical idea. You can live a full, honest, powerful life without needing anyone to understand you. You can stand firm without applause, without approval, and without explaining your every step. And in today's video, we'll explore why that idea is not only liberating, but necessary. Let's begin. Part 1. Why we long to be understood. Let's begin at the root. Why do we long so deeply to be understood? It's not because we're weak, it's because we're wired for connection. To be understood is to feel known. To feel known is to feel safe. And safety, on a primal level, once meant survival. When someone says, "I get you," it lands deeper than just a compliment. It feels like you exist, like your experiences, your emotions, your journey. They're not invisible. From the time we were children, we've been conditioned to equate understanding with love. A parent who sees us says, "I understand." A friend who listens says, "I hear you." And in those moments, we feel whole. But here's where it turns dangerous. Over time, the desire to be understood can quietly evolve into a dependency. And suddenly our sense of peace is no longer self-sourced. It's held hostage by someone else's perspective. And let's face it, people often don't listen to understand. They listen to respond. Or worse, they listen through the lens of their own unresolved wounds. So what you say gets filtered through their story, not yours. That's where Stoic wisdom offers a radical shift. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And what someone thinks about you, what story they choose to tell in their own mind. That's an outside event. It's not yours to manage. It's not yours to fix. It's not even yours to witness. What's yours is your intention, your clarity, your values, your stillness. You are not obligated to bend your truth into a shape that fits someone else's misunderstanding. And the sooner you reclaim that truth, the sooner you come home to yourself. Part 2. The cost of needing to be understood. There's a quiet kind of exhaustion that comes with constantly trying to be understood. It's the exhaustion of filtering your words, of second-guessing your tone, of softening your truth so it won't be too much for someone else to digest. It's mental labor, constant, unpaid, and invisible. And it's costing you more than you realize. When your peace depends on how others perceive you, you begin living reactively. You become a mirror, not a light. You wait to be reflected before you move forward. The cost? Time. Hours spent explaining, clarifying, defending, and wondering, did they get me? Energy drained by emotional labor that was never yours to carry. Clarity lost when you reshape your message to fit someone else's lens. Direction, because instead of walking your path, you keep detouring into theirs. Integrity, when you compromise your voice just to be received more easily. And worst of all, you begin to believe that your truth only matters if someone agrees with it, that your reality only has value if someone validates it. But that's not clarity, that's captivity. Seneca once wrote, He who seeks wisdom must be indifferent to the applause of the crowd. Not hostile, just indifferent. It's not about pushing people away. It's about standing in your truth, whether they clap or not. Because the deepest kind of peace comes from alignment, not approval. And when you stop needing to be understood, something shifts. You start listening to yourself more than you listen to your critics. You stop rewriting your story for an audience that was never paying attention. And in that silence, you find yourself again. Part 3. Scenarios. When you feel misunderstood. Let's make this practical. Being misunderstood isn't just a theory. It's something we feel in real life. In daily moments. In small interactions that hit harder than we expect. Here are 3 common situations where misunderstanding hurts most, and how the Stoic lens shifts everything. 1. Setting boundaries. You tell a friend, "I need space this weekend." They reply, "Wow, you're really distant these days." Immediately you feel that tension, the urge to clarify, "It's not about you, I'm just overwhelmed." You feel responsible for their reaction, even though your boundary was honest. But here's the Stoic move. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, am I acting with integrity? If yes, then let them feel what they feel. You don't owe them a perfectly packaged version of your emotional needs. Your peace is not dependent on their comfort. Boundaries don't need PR. They need consistency. 2. Choosing a different path. You leave a stable, high-paying job to pursue a slower, more meaningful life. Your family looks confused, or worse, disappointed. Are you throwing away your future, they ask. You want to explain your purpose. You want them to understand this isn't recklessness, it's realignment. But here's the Stoic truth. Not everyone is meant to get it. They see your past. You see your potential. Don't argue. Don't convert. Let your life become the explanation. Let the peace you gain speak louder than any defense you could offer. 3. Online vulnerability. You share something personal, maybe about growth, struggle, or grief. Then comes the comment, cringe, or you just want attention. It stings, and your first instinct, defend, clarify, delete. But Epictetus reminds us, if someone speaks badly of you and it's true, correct yourself. If it's false, ignore it. Your character will always say more than your comeback. Your job isn't to manage every opinion, it's to remain rooted. Because in each of these moments, the same lesson repeats. Let them misunderstand. Let your actions speak. And above all, don't trade your peace for their approval. Part 4. What the Stoics taught. The Stoics were no strangers to being misunderstood. Marcus Aurelius, as Emperor of Rome, faced relentless criticism, often from those who had never ruled, never led, and never bore the weight of a crumbling empire. He still chose reflection over reaction. He wrote in his journal, not for applause, but for alignment. Epictetus, born into slavery and left physically disabled, taught thousands not from bitterness, but from wisdom. He didn't waste his breath trying to earn sympathy or correct his critics. He focused on the one thing he could control, his mind. Seneca was accused of hypocrisy, of living too richly for a Stoic. He responded not with defenses, but with writings that still challenge us 2,000 years later. So what did they all have in common? They didn't chase validation. They didn't build their peace on other people's perceptions. They didn't explain themselves to every passerby. Instead, they practiced one of the hardest and most liberating disciplines of all. They embodied their values even when misunderstood. Epictetus put it simply, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. It sounds easy, but in practice, it's an act of courage. It means allowing others to think what they will, while you continue to walk in silence, rooted in clarity. It means recognizing that your life will always say more than your words ever could. It means trusting that time, not argument, will reveal who you really are. In our modern world, filled with instant comments, judgment, and online outrage, this might feel impossible, but that's exactly why it's needed. Because if you can remain still, if you can stay anchored while the world spins with opinions, if you can trade your need to be understood for the deeper need to live with integrity, then you're not just learning Stoicism, you're living it. Part 5. Practices to release the need. So how do we begin letting go of the need to be understood? It's not about shutting down. It's not about isolating or becoming cold. It's about choosing clarity over control, alignment over approval. Here are 10 Stoic practices to help you make that shift from emotional dependency to inner sovereignty. 1. The ego check. Before you explain yourself, pause. Ask, am I doing this to be helpful or to protect my pride? Not every explanation is clarity. Some are just ego in disguise. If the urge to speak comes from fear, choose silence. 2. Silent integrity. Live in a way that makes your words unnecessary. Over time, your consistency becomes louder than any defense. Let your daily actions prove what one conversation never could. Perspective is a powerful. 3. The 3-year rule. Ask yourself, will this matter 3 years from now? If the answer is no, don't give it 3 hours of your peace. Perspective is a powerful filter. Use it often. 4. Journal the fear. Write it out. What am I afraid will happen if I'm misunderstood? Will they leave? Think less of me? Judge my intentions? Put your fear on paper. It shrinks in the light. 5. Detach from perception. Remind yourself daily, I control my actions, not their interpretation. They have a lens. You have a life. Don't confuse the two. 6. Practice intentional misunderstanding. Try this once a week. Let someone get you wrong and say nothing. Let the discomfort rise and then pass. You'll discover that silence often says more than argument ever could. 7. Speak once, then step back. Say your truth clearly, but just once. Don't loop it. Don't repackage it. Let them receive it, or not. Their openness isn't your responsibility. 8. Trust the long game. You're not building a reputation for today. You're building a legacy. Trust that your life's pattern will speak louder than any moment of misjudgment. When practiced regularly, these tools build a different kind of muscle. Not the kind that pushes, but the kind that stands. Part 6. What you gain when you let go. So much of life is spent trying to hold things together. Our image, our stories, our version of the truth that others will hopefully accept. But what if the greatest freedom doesn't come from holding tighter, but from letting go? When you release the need to be understood, you don't become colder, you become clearer. You don't lose connection, you begin connecting more honestly. You don't give up your truth, you finally stop editing it. Here's what you gain when you stop chasing approval. 1. Clarity of thought. Your mind becomes quieter. You're no longer scripting explanations in your head. You stop rehearsing conversations that will never happen. You reclaim mental space for creativity, reflection, and peace. 2. Power in your voice. You speak less but with more weight. Because your words aren't seeking validation, they're rooted in truth. And when you no longer speak to be liked, you start speaking to be real. 3. Emotional lightness. Without the pressure to constantly explain, you move through life more freely. You carry fewer emotional bags into every room, every conversation. Your presence becomes lighter. more grounded, more whole. 4. Deeper self-respect. You stop bending your values to fit someone else's version of you. You stop trading your peace for the illusion of harmony. And that quiet strength? People feel it, even if they can't explain it. 5. Authentic connection. Ironically, when you stop trying so hard to be understood, the right people begin to understand you effortlessly. Because you're not performing anymore. You're not curating a version of yourself. They meet the real you. Letting go of the need to be understood doesn't shrink your life. It expands it. It opens space for truth, depth, and alignment. And more importantly, it teaches you the art of trusting yourself when no one else claps, nods, or even notices. That's not isolation. That's liberation. Final words. Let them misunderstand. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone is supposed to. And honestly, not everyone wants to. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you because clarity would force them to rethink their judgments. And sometimes, holding on to their version of you is more comfortable than facing the truth of who you've become. So let them. Let them think you're cold. Let them say you've changed. Let them write a story where you're the villain, because it protects their narrative. You don't need to interrupt that story. You just need to stop starring in it, because your life is not a courtroom. You don't owe closing arguments. You don't need to convince the jury. You were never on trial. Let your days speak for you. Let your peace speak louder than your defense. Let your integrity leave a trail too consistent to ignore. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it." You are that rock. The wave is misunderstanding, the storm is judgment, and the stillness is yours to keep. Stillness is power. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need permission. It's what happens when your self-worth is no longer tied to other people's comprehension. Let them misunderstand. It's okay. Let them say you've become distant. Maybe you have, from what no longer aligns. Let them claim you've changed, because evolution always looks suspicious to the stagnant. You're not here to be explainable. You're here to be whole. And wholeness often looks like mystery to those who've only ever lived fragmented. So let them guess, let them doubt, let them walk away. But you keep walking, quietly, clearly, and with conviction. Because at the end of the day, peace doesn't come from being seen clearly by the world. It comes from seeing yourself clearly, consistently, and courageously. And that is Stoic freedom. If this message speaks to you, let it echo with action. Comment below. I choose peace over being understood. And as always, stay grounded, stay wise, stay stoic.